Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny, and today we need to start this year the API for the app registrations for the doctors. Need to how to create here the API. Need to explain in details, and this API we need to develop inside the three step inside the registrations of the doctors. We need to complete first part inside. We need to get this here the experience, service fields, fees, specialities, and like this we need to collect this inside the this API. We need to get here, and second parts inside we need to second step inside we need to getting this here the degree related information. So we need to put in this here the degree names and certificates of the degree uploads with this API. We need to develop here, and then next API inside we need to timings as well as we need to set here the after the verify. We need to add this, like this complete this here the process. We need to calling here, we need to use this here the experience and service. We need to use this here the service and facility. We need to create here the JSON objects. We need to develop here and to manage this here the JSON passwords and JSON records to we need to save inside the database. Let first we need to create here the first parts. We need to developing here, and to part one we need to start here. Now we need to create here the form data API. We need to write down here the post. We need to create here the this API structures. We need to develop here, and tomorrow we need to continue this API. Now we need to write down here the registrations. Register doctor, register for doctors API. I need to write down like here. Now we need to pass here the request response and to function callback like here. Now we need to creating here the multi-part API. That's why I need to create here the form variables. We need to declare here. We need to write down here form, because we need to also need to take this here the user image for the doctor image. Need to take here and to save inside the user profiles multi-party, and we need to set this here the form like. Now where you need to write down here the form dot parse. We need to call this here the method, and now need to request give this here return this here the three callbacks. We need to get here first one is the errors request object, and need to get here the file of list files, like we need to get here the functions for these parsers. First of all, now we need to check here parsing inside. We need to get any errors, then to throw these errors, to call this here the helper dot throw html errors, and to write down here the errors the response, and to terminate this here the service calls. We need to return this and close this service calls, like we need to calling here. Then after need to check this here the access tokens. We need to needs here need to call this here the request dots. First of all need to pass here the request dot headers. Then response objects need to give if here that is valid user tokens. Then to returning this here's the user object need to return here's like here need to call here's. Then after so need to calling this here the helper dot check parameters. Need to required parameters need to check yes if gets or not. If not gets, then to returning this here the missing response parameters need to sending for the servers, and to close these terminations of this API. Now first one need this here the specialities for this. We need to add here, need to forget this here the database creating time. So need to first of all the add this here the user tables inside. Need to add one more column. So need to go inside the structures, and need to select this here the fees. After need to create here the go, and to add this here the new columns, set here the specialities, and to where cares, and to set this here the 300, and we need to write down here the blank, and we need to save this here, and to specialist columns need to add. So now need to use this column here for the input. We need to check here the specialist. Then after need to need here the year of experience. We need to how many years experience for this doctor fields. We need to given this years, and we need to also need to this that here the fees amounts of need to past years. Then after you need to passing this here the service and facility in inside the JSON objects JSON string. We need to getting here for these variables, and to save inside the database like here. We need to getting here. Then after experience list also need to needs here, so need to again so need to JSON list need to getting here and to get here like this data. And this is the check parameters we need to call here, and we need to call this here. After these parameters, if valid, then to get this here the blank callbacks, we need to returning this here. Same as now. Also need to check here the helper dot check parameter valids and to pass this here the response dot comma and to give this here the files. And now need to check here the parameters as a image for here the doctor image. We need to getting here and need to get here the blank here blank callbacks like here. So need to check here. Now, first of all, need to save this here the user image. We need to save inside here our database, and as well as need to save inside the files. Need to use this here the public folders, image folders inside profiles. Need to save this here the files. First of all, need to go inside the scroll downs and to find out any the multiparts API and to use this here this API like here's, and we need to paste here's like terminate this years and to get this here the image files, and now need to change here the profile folders. Inside we need to put this here these images and to set this here the data and like here the setting here. Then after first important parts we need to convert into the data types. We need to save here. Need to after the saving these files we need to call this here the db dot query and to change this here the user types. We need to also change here. We need to call this here the names as API. Now need to go here and we need to write down here the query SQL query, go updates and to remove this here the user ID, middle name, mobile numbers, no needs. So need to clean here. Also needs here the image, email not needs, year of experience we need to needs here, pay also needs, specialist needs, latitudes, longitudes, no needs. We need to clean OS type, push tokens, authentication, verifications, also no needs, user types needs here, status, no needs. Need to cleaning here and modify dates also need to need here. Then after need to change this here to question mark. We need to set this here for value. We need to setting inside the dynamically. That's we need to set here the question mark here for this query like here and like here. Need to cut here this query. Need to given here. Now we need to pass here the first of all the user ID against this user. So need to update this all value for inside the database. Like we need to write down here the query. First of all, need to pass this here the image. We need to give this question mark value. Need to save path. We need to give this here the file names here put. Then after so need to give this here the year of experience. We need to pass here the request object dot year of experience. Need to give this here this column value years and zero index of value. Then after so need to give this here the piece value. You need to set here use this here the column value as a piece and zero index of value we need to get here. Then after specialist we need to give this here request object dot need to call this here this specialist index of zero value need to given this here. Now this is the doctor API. Then to change this here the user types, we need to set here the doctor types as a two. Otherwise, we need to set here the types. Need to declare here where UT doctor is commonly set here as a two. Like here the configurations. Use this here the direct this value inside this calling this API. Need to put here. So every time need to use this here the UT doctors for the get the specific value. And even to setting this years and to create here the string value is good like here's need to setting here. And then after need to modify dates inside also need to directly here the now functions need to write down here. And then after user object dot user ID need to pass here and to set this here the data and to save here. Then after this db query need to return this here the callbacks, and inside we need to first parameters we need to get here the errors. Second is the results we need to getting here like this value. If here the errors, then to directly throw this similar to error this here, printing here. Now need to check here the if conditions. Need to results dot affected row more than 0 means successfully update inside the database. For this value, need to put here if fails, need to respond dot JSONs and need to respond this here the else message, set here the 0 and also need to return this here the message. This is the common structures. Doctor registrations, doctor registration, fix this here the typo, fail like here's. I need to call here's. Now here the we need to write down here the another query. Need to first of all the this service facility list. Also need to convert into the JSON string. We need to JSON string to JSON object. Need to converting here. So need to pass this here the value. Need to write down here the where. We need to write down here experience service where service object is equal to need to call this here the JSON dot parse and we have to give this here the value request object dot service specialty 0 index of value and to get this here the value same as need to get here the experience get here copy here and to paste this here now need to write down here the experience like here you need to get here now you need to create here the array and to save this here the value need to write down here first of all need to declare this here the db query db dot query like here double quotes. Now need to open this here the database in web browsers. Here's and we need to select this here first of all the experience details. We need to put here. We need to get here the insert query. Need to write down here. Go inside the SQLs. Write down here the inserts. So need to remove here the experience ID like here's info status no need. So need to always active here's like here and give this here the question mark. Need to set here the big question mark is good for the multiple query. Need to submit here's like cut and to paste this here's this value need to put here this query need to returning this here the errors result return here like here's if get any errors and to print here and also need to check here's result dot length more than 0 like here maybe gets here results only this query like we need to set here and now need to pass this here the variables first of all need to create here the for each loops need to call here for the developing here the variables value need to save need to write down here the for each loops need to call here experience object here dot for each like here's elements inside we need to get here the value the object and index we need to get here now like here now set here the experience array, create like here's. Now need to give this here the array inside the push this value, add here's. First ones need to give this here the user ID. You need to use this here the user object dot ID, and then after need to set here the value. Need to give this here the object dot, need to give this here the name of experience. Columns need to set this as a JSON, so need to use this here the directly, like this value need to boost every times, and to save this years. Now give here's this value here, like we need to settings, and to save here this experience query need to write here and to set this here the data, like here. Else part need to print here the log only, the log result is good. But here's maybe no need these conditions, clean here's. Same as now need to write down this query for the service and facility. Need to needs here, so need to change this here the variable names as a service, and to give this here the service area, like here. And also need to change this here the table, so need to change here. Now need to go select here the medical data, and to go inside here the service details, need to give this here the service name, so need to put here for the list outs. Now go inside here the SQLs, select query, and we need to give this here the table name first, here, like, then name, and to give this here the change here this value service area, and to save this years. And this query are the done years, and tomorrow need to making here the how to add this here the document degree with here the image. We need to setting here, and then after need to calls registration dot, need to pass here response status. I need to set here the one, like here, and message doctor registration register successful. Like we need to write down here, we need to merge this query, need to cut here, and we need to give this here the comma, terminate this query, like here, and need to paste here this query again, and also cut here these variables for each loop, like here, and need to give this here the value inside the comma separators, like here. To query need to write down inside the one query, need to call here. Now check here result dot length more than 0, then to successfully, else parts fail response. Now need to cut here's, paste this here's, and write down here fail, like save, and need to making here done this here the for doctors parts 1, so need to step 1 save this whole data. And tomorrow need to develop here, first of all need to change this here the API name, step 1, like create here this API are the done here. Tomorrow need to develop this here the steps 2 API. Inside we need to save this here the doctor degree. We need to image with here the degree name. So need to taking here for the dynamically. Need to one by one inserting. So need to records inside this registration. So need to making here. We are making here the 3 API for the add new degrees, and remove degrees, and list of degree. need to three API need to develop tomorrow, and also fourth API for the registrations of the degree and two submitting years. Like we need to making here this API. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have questions, so please write down the comment section. So I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.